Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial on deception and countermeasures in the Xiangqi opening. This is build number 68. It is based on a trilogy of books on Xiangqi opening theory that has been deemed as one of the best books on opening theory in Xiangqi for the past 3 decades. There was a new edition that was published about 2 years ago. So without further ado, let us begin. Now this would also mark the first of two boards on the elephant opening. So red will play the elephant opening and black will counter with the left central cannon, which is one of the most commonly seen counters by black. Black's left cannon is moved to the central file, not the right cannon, because the right cannon would black will still allow himself the option of attacking this elephant for the 5-7 cannons if the left central cannon was played. So moving the horse to protect the central pawn. So far the development is still okay, and it is now normally recommended that black attack aggressively with r8+6 for the pawn rank chariot. The riverbank chariot would not be as good because black would go for the screen house defense as red, and after trading pawns, red will free himself of the bind that the chariot was moved, and this horse would now be able to do some mischief. Now, if black did not offer to trade material and chose to push p3+1 to counter red's p3+1, red would go c8+2, preparing to play h3+2 to chase the chariot away. Red has the initiative, and there will be more potential to grow in the opening phase. So that is why black would be better off with the pawn rank chariot instead of the river bank chariot. So in this board, red would go for the screen house defense, which is very normal. And it was a sound move for black to play r8=7 to add pressure to this horse. It would not be a good idea to try to keep the chariot here to pin, because red could go for the riverbank horse variation as red, preparing to push p3+1. Now, if the colors were switched, this would be still considered a viable opening system against the central cannon. So playing this position as red would only mean that red would even have an extra move as he started the game as red. So this would red would have a significant advantage, and black would be best to have prevented this. So r2 r=7, red will protect the chariot in this manner. Both the black horses have developed, and red will adapt the double-headed snake pawns formation. Now h3 r7=8 is played. Is played in this board because red will still want black will not threaten the cannon. Red will show much versatility by moving the cannon to the edge file. r3=2 will not be as good because now, since black had developed both horses as purple horses while red had pushed the double-headed snake pawns, the only way for black to develop these horses would be from the central file. And although this would be the double-headed snake pawns formation, black would have already developed his material and from the central file, and black would have a very versatile and powerful formation. So that is why r3=2 would not be a good idea. Instead, it would be advocated for red to play c2=1, charging from the central file. And this would be the deceptive move in this situation. Usually, c8+1 is played to chase the chariot away, and the chariot will be protecting the horse, and the cannon will be retreated. Both colors, this will still be a very playable situation for both colors, and is considered to be a normal variation. There will be several rules of engagement in the ensuing war. So back to the line. P3 plus 1 was the move of deception. Black would capture it, and this would be what what red was attempting all along. Now, by sacrificing the pawn, red hopes to gain some initiative, as now the horse will be attacking the chariot, and this chariot will be prepared to capture the black pawn. If black tried to develop any material from the central file, red will greatly weaken and trade the horses away, and black's attack will be nullified. Now, at this point in time, three variations were discussed for black. For black, sorry. The first would be r8 equals to 6. The second will be r8 plus 1 to target his cannon, and the last would be to simply capture the central pawn with c5 plus 4. Now, in the first two variations, black would have a hard time, but the recommended variation in the book was c5 plus 4. In the first variation, r8 equals to 6, whereby black would target the riverbank horse. It would seem to be a natural move to make at this point in time. Now, this is considered to be a knee-jerk response, and black would have to pay the price. The horse would charge across the river, forcing the horse to be linked in this manner. And this will, at this point in time, red will advance his cannon finally to threaten the black chariot. This is also a necessary tactical combination for red to gain increases initiative. So at this point in time, we can see that the black chariot had already made so many moves, thereby slowing down the development of his material. Red moving the chariot to safety, and at this point in time, red will pull the cannon back and threaten the horse and cannon at this file, and also to gain the initiative of the a6 plus 5 later on. A6 or plus 5 or a4 plus 5 later on. Black will develop his other chariot as a rank chariot. This chariot is forced to move again, and at this point in time, red will play c8 equals to 6, which is a very nice move. This move will discourage black from playing r1 equals to 4 and allow for development of his left chariot to threaten the black cannon. Two goals are met in one swoop, one fell swoop. Okay. Black will usually have be forced to continue attacking from the central file. Other than this, there would not be any better moves. Developing the left chariot and moving the chariot to the edge file. P5 plus 1 would not be a good idea at this point. Okay, why is that so? Let's see. So if black push P5 plus 1, black would simply retreat his cannon to safety, chase the chariot away, and black would be faced with the predicament of losing material, as this chariot will still be prepared to capture the cannon. So after forcing the cannon to the edge, red will close the doors and trap the red chariot, preparing to play r6 minus 2. Would it be a good idea, or could black save himself? Red save himself by accepting the. Would it be a good idea to simply capture the pawn? The answer will be a resounding no. After trading pawns, red will attack, but this horse will be a target of attack. Now, black will try to trade material. Black will simply defend, and the black cannon will still be protecting the elephant. So black would not be in a hurry to play e3 plus 5, or he will lose material. Let's say e3 plus 5, a check, and this will be a check, and black will be forced to move the chariot to protect his cannon, but the horse would be lost, and in the process of doing so, black will lose 2 elephants, which will the effects of this would be very pronounced later on. So that is why r6 minus 2 is played, forcing the cannon away, and black would now have a central cannon, but there will not be any reinforcements that are available. And after r1 equals to 8, black would have now be attacking. Black would now be attacking, and red would have many things to worry about. So p5 plus 1 to simply capture the pawn is not a good idea. Instead, c3 equals to 4 to threaten to trap the chariot would be a much better option. This will force the chariot away, and now would be the better time to capture the pawn, because the black chariot had left this file. It was not so much a threat anymore. The situation is simplified. Now, h6 plus 5 will be a little bit brash, because the horse will not be able to be developed, and this will add quite a bit of pressure to this flank over here. So that is why p5 plus 1 is better. Capture the pawn, and this red will go for the attack. Now the horse at this point will threaten the elbow horse, even though it was guarded by the black chariot, and also to capture the black cannon. Black would link his cannons up, and the cannon would now, red would counter with a central cannon of his own. Red has applied more restrictions on black. Both colors will be attacking, but red would have the better opportunities. So that is why, a quick recap, r8 equals to 6 is not a good idea. r8 plus 1 would also be a mistake, because red will simply capture the black pawn in this very sacrifices or trade material with this very simple and powerful move, and red will control the entire situation. If black accepted the sacrifice in variation B, but if he did not and tried to shoo the chariot away, red will capture the horse, trading horses. Red would continue his merciless attack on the black horse. And after trading material, red will now be attacking in many ways, capturing the pawn, developing the chariot, attacking the pawn, and perhaps another pawn over here for an attack of the flanks, etc. There will be many good prospects for red to continue. So that is why r8 equals to 9, but might have been a better variation for black. Capturing the horse, retreat. Some might wonder, would black have been better playing capturing the central pawn? The answer would be no, even though the cannon will capture the chariot. This red will capture it, and this will be a trade of chariots. So we can see from the board now, red would have gained material 1, 2, 3, 4 versus black's 3 pieces. Now, would black gain material? No, because the horse will now offer a trade of material, and if the cannon moved, red will simply move the horse away to safety, and black will lose material in the process. Hence, that is why capturing the pawn would not be a good idea. And red will simply move his cannon back to the pawn rank, threatening the black horse, and also it will help for the future development of this horse. The situation is very clear, and it is red who will have a very obvious advantage. So variation B, r8 plus 1 to avoid capture by the red horse would not be viable. The suggested move would be c5 plus 4, whereby black will capture the central pawn and force red to move an advisor. Capturing the cannon would not be a good idea, even though red will seem to have a fork, because black will simply sacrifice material, and it will be proven that this was but a pseudo sacrifice, because now the red horse will have no place to go. Now red could continue with r3 plus 5, or if h7 plus 8 was moved. Again, black would choose to solidify his position first, because once the cannon moved out of the way, the chariot would capture the red horse, so red would not have gained much for his efforts. r3 plus 5, kept trading material, a check. Now it will be a basically even situation in this sub-variation. So capturing the black cannon will not be able to do much for red. So a6 plus 5 is played. Black could immediately play r8 equals to 6 again. Now this will be a different situation because the black pawns are still available and would offer some resistance. And let's say red continue with h4 plus 6. This is which is the most threatening move, threatening to gain material. It would not be a good idea to capture the cannon again, because black will capture this horse, and black would have raised his defenses in the nick of time. The red cannon and chariot would not be able to do much at this point in time, and this horse would be an issue. So h7 plus 5 is not a good idea. And h4 plus 6 would be more proactive and aggressive. But black would simply sacrifice his horse and retain the central cannon, which is the biggest and most dangerous piece that he has on the board at this time. What would happen if black continued to capture material instead? Again, as seen in this previous sub-variation, black would play this move and be prepared to play the chariot, etc., to capture this horse. Now, black's development would be much faster, and red would not have gained much in this situation. So r3 plus 5, linking the horse together, threatening the red chariot, and red will continue to attack the central pawn, and black would offer a trade of material. And after trading material, we can see that black would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Red would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But both the black horses are now ready to go. There's also an option of playing the central cannon, and black would be prepared, would have very rosy prospects ahead. So red's ninth ply of forcefully sacrificing the pawn was to, this move to sacrifice the pawn was to allow for this move to be finished. However, it would not be a good idea at all. So a short recap: in this board, red would sacrifice his pawn to get his horse to the riverbank and threaten to capture the black chariot, which is the main issue. There are three variations: r8 equals to 6, r8 plus 1, and c5 plus 4. In the first two variations, although although the red horse had charged across the river, black can deal with this situation in a very calm and collected manner. So the red keeps harassing the black chariot, and it moves again, and again harassing the black chariot, forcing it to move. And because black had moved the chariot so many times, it resulted in a loss of tempo. As can be seen, red would already upped his defense. The cannons and the horses were now attacking, and both chariots were in the open. So red would have a significant advantage. r8 plus 1 to threaten the cannon would also not be a good idea. So after a few rounds, we can see that red would have a significant and very clear and distinct advantage. The recommended move, c5 plus 4, would result in black having more options towards the end. So this would be the recommended variation. I hope you enjoyed today's short video tutorial. If you like the work that I've been doing, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up for this video. Thank you.